With EU4 coming up on its 9th anniversary, it seems the game is reaching the end of its development cycle. However, it has been confirmed by the devs that there will still be at least one more DLC patch, 1.36. Hence, a question remains on, what do I expect to be in this next and maybe final DLC, and what do the devs want in this DLC? Looking back to EU4 1.35, we can see that Domination was an all-encompassing DLC, covering many major nations across the world. It included massively increased flavor for these nations, with mission trees, custom units, custom events, custom government interactions, etc. I expect the final EU4 DLC may be focusing on slightly smaller nations or other major nations that were left out. It is also expected that this DLC will focus on the Middle East. So I would expect that we would have nations such as Persia, nations in Arabia, maybe even the Mamluks to be changed, alongside a potential update to India and the Indian empires. This has also been hinted at by the devs themselves in the developer diaries. I think it's important to note that EU5 will change a lot of things once it's finally released. EU4 will finally not have a jumbled mess of code, and we'll have new fresh code, we'll have a new engine, and we'll have significantly different features, maybe even some new features that weren't possible in EU4. But like with CK2 to CK3, there will be a massive loss in flavor. Therefore, I expect this final patch to just touch up everything that it could possibly touch up, including more flavor and mission trees for nations such as the Native Americans, colonial nations, etc. I do think there could also be a modification to many of the African nations, who I feel like, while they were updated some time ago, have been left in the lurch for a long time. Therefore, if this is the last EU4 update, I expect a change to a lot of the religions, mission trees, or at least somewhat less generic mission trees for many nations, and just minor updates to add flavor for everyone. I could even see Paradox charging $20 or $30 for a final major update before saying we're moving on to EU5. I'd just say, looking back on the development history of EU4, it has been pretty impressive what the game has come to from its original release. However, even with all these 9 years, it has come at such a heavy toll that I'm not sure if it was worth it. So many DLC at such high cost. I guess the positive is, since I and many players have been following the development of EU4, it was like buying a DLC once or twice a year, which is somewhat manageable, but for new players, it's completely impossible. Therefore, I think one final thing I hope for in a final EU4 update/DLC is the inclusion of many features that have been locked behind a paywall in a free update. This could be as simple as development, or it could be other features that many players haven't had access to. I think it would just make the game feel more homely, especially if they're selling it still at a $40 price. Maybe they could even up it to $50 if they included a lot of the older DLC features. But with Paradox, I don't know. They may just stick with a model of having sales every now and then and still charging full price for everything after it's released. Regardless, I just think it would be nice if they included some free features from older DLCs in the free update, because it would tie the game into a nice bow. We don't know exactly when EU4 1.36 will be released and if it will be the last EU4 DLC, but I'm just speculating based on how the game is going and especially how all-encompassing Domination was. Regardless, I look forward to more information, and hopefully they do include updates to all the nations that have been left out in recent DLCs and updates. Sincerely, Wonder Productions.